Bulking to put on muscle is hard work, but I'll show you a simple method, and it starts with tip number 1. If you're at 20% body fat or higher, you're not ready to bulk. You have poor insulin sensitivity and nutrient partitioning. Trying to bulk at this point, you're just going to get fatter and fatter. You need to go on an all-out assault on fat loss first. Then you want to get between 15 to 17% body fat, which is not super lean, but you should see a nice little slight outline of abs. That's a good place to start a bulk. After having been in a calorie deficit for a couple of months, you're going to be in a good place for your muscles to really start absorbing those nutrients. Which leads to tip number 2. If you're under 200 pounds, keep it simple and set your baseline calories at 2,500. Run that for 2 weeks. If you didn't gain weight, add 250 to 500 calories per day. Do this until you start growing. Say you stop growing and gaining weight at 3,000 calories, repeat the process. Add another 250 to 500 calories. Which leads to tip number 3. After you gain 10 pounds, reassess your midsection. Still have an outline of abs? Carry on. Keep pushing the calories. Gain another 10 pounds, reassess your midsection again. If this time there's no abs and you've gotten a little bit sloppy, it's time to do a cut. Cut can last anywhere from 4 to 8 weeks. This is crucial though because it'll reset your insulin sensitivity and your nutrient partitioning. Which leads to tip number 4. Let's say you started at 180 pounds, you got up to 200 pounds, you went on a cut and you got down to say 185 and you saw a slight outline of your abs. That's good news. That means you gained about 5 pounds of lean tissue. But really, I don't know how much you would have gained. I'm just giving you an example. So each time you start your bulk, you should be heavier than your baseline. The idea is that you're going to bulk and cut till you get to where you're at 200 pounds lean. But then there's going to come a point where you're going to reach your genetic limit, and at that point, you want to maintain what you have. Of course, if you can't accept your genetic limit, there's other things you can do. Which leads to tip number 5. You have to track calories and macros, or else you're just freestyling. That's why I said bulking is hard work. Don't be lazy. Do the work. Which leads to tip number 6. Make sure you hit at least 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. That's standard whether you're dieting or bulking. You cannot be afraid of carbs and fat at this point. Carbs and fat are what are driving your muscle growth as well as your weight gain. Which leads to tip number 7. Train as high rep, heavy as you can, in that greater than 6 to 8 rep range for hypertrophy. You're eating all those resources. You should be full every time you get to the gym. Bust your ass in the gym. Which leads to tip number 8. Sleep and hydration are huge. You grow when recovering. A lot of people like to throw in 20 to 30 minutes of cardio for heart health. Use whatever method you prefer. I myself like to do metabolic work, but it really doesn't matter. And it is a good idea because it does help keep your metabolism revving. Which leads to tip number 9. Use creatine. It adds volume to your muscle as well as contributing to strength. Food plus strength equals gains. That's the reason you'll see stick figures who can pull 4 or 5 plates off the floor, but they don't eat, so they're not as big as they look strong. Which leads to tip number 10. You have to be committed to the bulk. It's going to take at least 1 year to see noticeable difference, but you may be bulking for 2-3 years depending on how big you want to get. But be encouraged. I guarantee you if you stay committed to the bulk after that first year, you're going to look way bigger. Watch what YouTube recommends next, and as always, thanks so much for watching.